Corey Bell, and I just wanted to show you quickly how to do fermented carrot sticks. We had that topic come up, and it's real quick and easy. You're just going to take the ends off the carrots and pop those in a compost bowl for chickens. And you can really cut the carrots as much or as little as you like. I'm going to pretty much leave these whole, except I have to trim it to fit in my jar. I'm just using a regular ball jar. So you can measure your sticks and see how much they're going to fit. Okay, you want to leave about 1 inch of head space. So that's going to be just about perfect. All right, and then you can take that one out and use that to measure the rest of them. There, and I'll throw that one in too. The key when you lay these in the jar is that you want to pack them in tightly, because you want to keep them submerged under what's going to be your brine. And if they're not submerged, they're gonna rot, and you're gonna get mold and things growing in your ferment that you don't want to eat. I do have another way to prevent that though, also, that I'll show you. But let's make this one a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to pack these in here, and I'm really shoving them in to make sure that I'm filling up as much space as I can. And you can take these shorter bits and shove them in the cracks too, because you don't want these guys to float away later on. There we go. Alright, so those are my carrots. They're all shoved in the jar. They're not falling out. Okay, they're packed in tight. Now I'm going to mix up a quick brine. I have real salt here. This still has all the minerals intact. It's not processed like the regular white table salt. I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons in this size jar, and it's about a tablespoon per cup of water to make the correct brine. And that's important because the salt is what makes the culture work. In this case, we're not using whey, we're not using a starter culture, we're only using the salt water. And the salt is going to provide the right pH for the bacteria that you want to grow, and it'll kill the bacteria that you don't want to grow. Okay, so that's really important. Don't try to be skimpy on the salt. You need a tablespoon per cup. On my jar, it has a cup measure right on the side, so I know that this is a 2-cup jar, so I'm just going to fill that up. This is filtered water. It's just out of my fridge filter. It's nothing fancy. And I've completely submerged my carrots, okay? I've left some space in there and completely submerged them. You can also use a taller jar that has a narrow mouth, and that'll help keep the carrots in if you weren't able to pack them tightly enough. In this case, though, that's not going to be a problem, because I have this lid. It's called a recap, and I bought it on Amazon. I think they come in packs of 4, okay? So this fits my wide mouth jar. I'm just going to screw that on. And then I have an airlock. It's a 2-piece thing here. You have the bung that fits inside your lid. And this just goes right in here. And what's this is going to keep all the oxygen out of your ferment so that you have an anaerobic ferment. And that's important because you don't want random things from the air getting in there. All the bacteria that you're culturing is already in that jar. This has a max fill line on it, so I'm just going to pour a tiny bit of water in here because this is what makes that seal. Now I got a bubble. Woo! Alright. You see there's a line right about here, and you want these to be about even, but as you're shoving it in, they're gonna bubble out. Alright. Then there's a little cap for this just to keep out flies and toddlers and things like that. There you go. So that's it. Now, obviously the salt isn't dissolved yet. This was cold filtered water out of my fridge. So the salt is all sitting here at the bottom. So I'm going to periodically walk by and shake this, and eventually it's going to dissolve. If I had wanted to, I could have heated up the water first, dissolved the salt, waited for it all to cool down, and then started. But you don't have to, because this jar is going to take a while anyway. I'm going to let it sit and ferment on my countertop at room temperature 7 to 10 days. And during that time, I'm going to walk by and shake it periodically, and bubbles are going to come up through your airlock, and that's how you know that it's fermenting, because it's going to release the bubbles. And if you didn't have this airlock and you just had a regular lid, it could potentially explode your jar. So that's another reason why the airlock is great. I also got that on Amazon. You can get it at a homebrew store, anything like that. You don't have to do all this. If you don't want the recap and you don't want to do the airlock, you can just put on a regular jar lid. But you have to burp it a couple times a day, or the pressure will build up and you're going to have a disaster. Okay? So this is my jar of carrots. I'm going to leave them, like I said, 7 to 10 days. And this whole thing, you know, at the store, if you want to buy a jar of raw fermented vegetables, it's going to be about $7 or $8. I just looked at our co-op yesterday. And this, I bought a package of reduced carrots for $1, and I used about half of them, so this is about 50 cents worth of vegetables. And it's going to be full of enzymes and probiotics and all those things that you can spend tons and tons of money on at the store. And it's all here for about 50 cents. All right, if you have any questions, let me know, and good luck.